Hey friends, and welcome back to this Self-Love Tea. If you're new here, my name is Renee Mullings-Lewis, and I'm the CEO and founder of Modern Day Wise Woman, which is an online coaching practice. And here we talk about all things self-love, holistic health, self-development, spirituality. This space is all about helping you to be the dream version of yourself. Today, I just want to chat a little bit about your identity, how you see yourself. If you want to make changes in your life, one of the very first things that you have to do is change the way you identify, change the way you see yourself. And I'm going to give you a very, very simple example. I was working with a client the other day, and he was saying to me that he really wants to be in the best shape he's ever been. But he's had a lot of changes in his life. He has 10x'd his business. He has been traveling a lot for business. He got married. He now has 4 children in the last few years. They've had kids almost back to back. So a lot of life has happened for him. And so he's not the guy that he was, over 10 years ago or 15 years ago, where he had all the free time in the world, the bachelor, the guy who could just get up and do what he wanted to do. He's a dad now. He's a family man. He is a business owner with, however many employees. And because he identifies himself with these things, which are beautiful: family man, dad, business owner, exec, leader, he has lost the part of himself that really identified as an athlete. You know what I mean? This person that prioritized, or certainly had the time to prioritize, being fit and eating a certain way and, doubling down on being in the best shape he could be. So then it becomes a situation of how do we get back there? Absolutely, him and I, through our coaching sessions, our one-to-one coaching sessions, we're doing some of the emotional unraveling. We're going through processing some of the changes, going from just being a single man to, becoming a husband, and then becoming a father, and then being responsible for all these people and all of the stress that comes with that. We are doing the self-love work in our one-to-one sessions around that to ensure that he is as mentally fit and emotionally fit as he can be. And one of the very first things that we had to work on was his identity, as I am saying to you here, right? It's the fact that he no longer sees himself as that athlete. He has kind of done this thing where he has let that part of his identity go. And so it's almost as if the new identities that he has of father and husband and business owner and traveler or being busy has completely come into conflict with being the athlete. He can't see how being an athlete and being all of those other things go together. And so that's what we're working on for him, is helping him to see that that is a limiting belief. It is a limiting belief that you can't have the athleticism or being an athlete or being in the best shape ever also in the same space and reality as being a dad, being a husband, being a business owner, and specifically being a good dad and a good business owner, right? Because he is not just trying to be, any old dad. Anybody can be a dad. You can father a child. That doesn't mean you're a great dad. So it's a limiting belief that these things can't all exist in the same space. And so we've been doing some deep work to look at why he has this limiting belief. Where does it come from? Because it's not just about having less time. Again, it's about his view of how things work, how he works, how his family works, what's accessible, what's not accessible. These are all the things that are feeding this limiting belief. So needless to say, when we began to dig deep and he started to understand why he felt like being in the best shape, being an athlete, was in competition or in conflict with being a good dad, right? He began to think differently. He began to approach things differently. He began to show up differently. A simple example of this is like his eating habits really started to change, because he started to think of himself as someone that needs to nourish and fuel his body differently. Like, he's always going to be a dad. He's always going to be a husband. He is in this position now with his business, and he is that leader. These things are not changing. And now we've uploaded the subconscious programming called athlete, being in the best shape ever. And so now, just like if you had like a luxury car, you're like, okay, there is only a certain kind of gas I can use. Like, you're not gonna put that gas into this car if it's not premium gas. Like, you just don't do that. There's no option where you are gonna do that. You just recognize this has to happen. And so now he's really seeing himself as, okay, this is the kind of food I need to eat. This is it. Like, I'm not eating trashy processed food. I'm not eating high sugar anymore. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. So now, because that option is no longer available inside of his new reshaped identity, he's like, okay, that means we need to have certain things in the house. That means when I leave, I need to have certain things that I can grab and go. That means I need to have an understanding of where there are food spots that I travel to where I can get food that nourishes the engine that I have, that nourishes the high performance body that I have. Okay, and so he's really starting to see a big difference. This is just one example of identity. And I think a lot of us can relate to this. And so that's why I wanted to come out here and do this video quickly. It's a self-love tea. This is when I just like pop the camera open and just chat with you and just give you the transmission and then call it a day. Because I don't always have the time to like get all the gear going and get everything out and do like a bunch of editing and stuff like that. I just want to get stuff out to you so that you can use it and apply it and get going, right, on your journey of self-development and what is good for you. Why don't you tell me in the comments below, what is an identity that you are wanting to step into that's been a struggle for you? Maybe like this client that I just shared with you about, it's about being in the best shape ever. It's about being healthy and being an athlete. Maybe for some of you, it's about money. Maybe it's about being amazing with money, like having an identity where you're like, I am amazing with money. I'm financially literate. I am on top of my game with money. I know exactly how to handle money, care for money, make money. Maybe it's that. For some of you, it could be like being in love or being a wife. Like, maybe you are dating right now and you're very clear, you know what? Like, I'm ready to be a wife. And so you're bridging the gap between where you are now and becoming that wife. Maybe for some of you, it's being a mom or being a parent, right? Maybe you're struggling with that and you'd like to be a confident parent, right? Be a maybe you don't even have kids yet, but you want to be a parent, right? So it's all about ensuring that we are seeing ourselves as the person we dream of being now, seeing ourselves as the person we want to become now, because that ultimately is what's going to have us take the actions that are necessary to make that reality happen. All right, my friends. So it has been a pleasure to be here to do this little self-tea for you. Leave me your questions and your comments below. I have told you all over and over again that we're going to try to get back to doing weekly videos, but it has just been so busy. So I'm going to attempt to, at the very least, come out and do these self-love teas, these short impromptu videos, even if I can't do like a full length, you know, all more professional masterclass. So great to be with you, and don't you forget, until we see each other next time, that we truly are in this together.